Hey, what's up guys? I'm Mercy, and if you bought a toolkit, fiber toolkit from us, thank you. And maybe you're having some trouble with getting it cleaved properly, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a tip on what is probably the most common problem when you first start doing fiber and you're trying to cleave it. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's an example of some fiber cable. If you have a CT-30 or CT-06 or even a Corning cleaver, pretty much any cleaver out there, maybe you just bumped into me on YouTube and you're trying to troubleshoot something. So hopefully this is, and you haven't done fiber before, this is probably going to be one of the most common stumbling blocks that I talk to on the phone with contractors, trying to figure out what's going on. So basically, this is, I don't know, an example, outer jacket. These are the different colored strands. It's a 6-strand cable, but there's the buffered part that needs to come off, okay? Now, when you take off the buffered part, what you're going to cleave is actually the cladding, okay? Now, this is, I believe, with the AFL fast connectors, from the buffered jacket to the end of the strand. It should be, I believe, from remember 10.5. So you're probably going to have more of a length of glass here, cladding. Okay. Now underneath the cladding, in case you didn't know, a lot of times if you're new at it, hey, this might give you a little tip here, but the core is going to be underneath the cladding. This is actually the glass that sends the signal. So it'll be for single mode 9, multi-mode 50 micron, or 62.5 for multi-mode also, but that's not a big deal. That's not what we're going to bump into. The issue you're probably having is when you go to cleave, it's not making a proper cleave. If you're using the CT-30, you punch it down, it's doing its thing, and nothing is happening, okay? You may think, okay, well maybe I should adjust the CT-30 cleaver, raise the blade a little bit up, and maybe it'll do its thing right there. But no, don't do that. That thing is factory set from the factory. A lot of new tools are, so you shouldn't have to adjust anything. So the issue is, there is some material that's very hard to see underneath, actually right over the entire cladding, okay? There's this light silicone type of material that's on there, and it's soft, it's kind of a wax. Now that's on there because when you go to, with your strippers, when you go in with your stripper right there and you make your cut and you're getting the other part of the buffer jacket colored part, if you're getting that off, this silicone material helps to actually pretty much allows that buffered part to slide off of the cladding, okay? Now, when you go to strip it, and I'll give you an example here in just a minute. I got my strips and some fiber over there. So when you go to strip it, if you squeeze your stripper just to the point where it barely cuts into the buffer jacket and you remove it there, and if you don't, maybe if you're new, you should go try to do it a second and third time and make sure that it's squeezed all the way, because if this material is left on there, okay, when it's a soft material, when you go to cleave, that is your problem. It will not work. You're going to be kicking yourself trying to figure it out. And it's one of the things that's not talked about in fiber optic toolkits when you get it. It's just one of those little hiccups you got to learn and pick up on when you first do it. And once you got it figured out, you've got it pretty much knocked out. But that is probably one of the most common issues that I bump into. So let's go ahead and get a couple cleavers out, and I'll see if I can get the camera zoomed in good enough for you. Okay, so I have the CT-30 and I have the CT-06. We'll probably just demo it with the CT-30 because it'll be pretty much the same for both. So let me see if I can get the camera to zoom in good enough for you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is replicate the issue that you're having. Okay, I went ahead and stripped the buffer, okay, off of the cable itself, off of the glass. I did it kind of maybe the way you might have did at first, kind of bumped into. Did it once and that's it. We kind of forgot about that or didn't know about that waxy material, and I'm going to go ahead and cleave it for you to see if I can give you a good example of maybe the exact same issue you're bumping into. So I guess it doesn't matter if it's what the length is. This is just a demo here. So we put it in the 900 section here. We want to go ahead and close the tab, make sure it's in properly with the CT-30. We go ahead and put the blade in place, and we'll go ahead and press it down, and it should do the cleave for us. Okay, did it do it? Nope. As you can tell, nothing. Okay. You're thinking, oh, what's going on with this thing? It's not working. Adjust the blade. No. Let me go ahead and get the stripper, and we'll go over it a second and third time. Let me see if I can get some of that silicone material off onto the stripper so you can see what the issue might be. A lot of times this stuff's really small too. I can't see much of anything nowadays, but let me get the stripper. Let me see if I can get a nice shot here for you. And there's the stripper we're going to use. See if I can, there we go, that looks pretty good. Okay, now this is the second time I'm going over it. That's a nice shot. You see that? I might break the glass here. There we go. Now that material right there, that is causing the issue with your cleave. Okay? So you might want to go over it just a third time. That was the second time. A third time is always not a bad idea, just to make sure you got it all off. Let's see if we get any more stuff off. It's more of that wax silicone material. No, looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get some prep fluid. Okay, so with your fiber kit, you should have some type of prep cleaning fluid and some wipes, dry wipes. So go ahead and, there we go. Go ahead and get it wet, and then we're going to want to follow this next step here. Okay, so with your wipe, you're going to want to go ahead and start from the bottom. And let's see here, let me get this right. You're going to want to put a little bit of pressure and then pull away from the color. You should hear a squeak. Let me see if we can hear it. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so that'll help you also make a proper cleave. You should do that every time after you do one of these. Let's put it back on the cleaver and let's see what happens. Okay, so we got our blade and our cable locked down. Don't forget, if you want to see a detailed view, we got a couple long videos on this cleaver and a couple others that'll show you the ins and outs of pretty much the tool, so you might want to check that out on the YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and make our cleave here, and let's see what happens after we went ahead and bumped into that issue earlier. Boop. There's your problem. Solved. If you purchased the kit from us, I just want to say thank you for your business. Go ahead and check us out on YouTube for all kinds of other videos. And if you're troubleshooting a video and maybe you never heard of us before, hi. Order parts and check us out more online. DiscountLowVoltage.com. Thanks.